Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Dr. Herbert Harris, and I want to welcome you to Success Mentorship Class number 359. And our topic for today is Be Not Conformed to This World. Don't stay stuck. I'm going to say that again. Be not conformed to this world. Don't stay stuck. As you know, our topics are based on our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success, and I guess all the years of study and transformation that we've had a chance to spend in different places in the world. And invite you to visit our website, herbertharris.com, www.herbertharris.com, and just take a look at some of the transformational goodies that we have put there to help you transform your life from what it is to exactly what you want it to be. I want to welcome everyone on Instagram. We have a great group on Instagram, on YouTube, and most of all, those of you in the Success Mastermind group on Zoom. Thank you for being here today. And together, our collective consciousness will bring this message to its proper place. So let us start by having our meditation to get us centered so that we can go forth in oneness. Close your outer eyes, open your inner eyes. Take a deep breath, let it out slowly. Take a deep breath, let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that together. I am at peace with myself. And just let that peace sink in. And in this state of peace and relaxation, our minds are open, receptive, and ready to learn. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Wow. I want to welcome each and every one of you to this Success Mentorship class number 359. I like to start each class with a quote. And today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to quote with a piece of scripture, but I want you to understand that my approach to the Bible is one of well, on many levels, but now we're talking about as an instructive book of truth principles, of metaphysical principles, and the principles that go beyond the physical to the spiritual. And this quote really is the foundation for change and the law of change. The second law of change in our book is the second law of success is the law of change. And the scripture says this: Be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. That's Romans 12th chapter, 2nd verse. So what this is really saying is that the trials and tribulations, some of the things that we go through are for a purpose of testing us and giving us that, I'll call it, confrontational strength. Many times when you're in a moment of crisis, you can do things that you never thought you could before. There are many stories of people doing impossible feats just because they were in a situation where a loved one or someone was in danger. I remember reading about a lady who literally picked up a 3,000-pound car in an accident. The car was on her son, and she picked it up so that the son could be pulled out. Now, when she got into that situation where she saw her son there about to die under the car, she didn't all of a sudden take a quick course in car lifting, but she was able to connect with that challenge and to create the vibration, the energy, and the power to do what was necessary to save her son. And so that's the framework I want us to look at this thought. As we start this new year, it's important to recognize that each of us starts at a different place, at a different mindset, at a different skill set, a different frame of reference. We have our own thoughts, our emotions, our habits, our actions. We have our own relationships. And as we go forward, things happen, but the things that happen are for our growth. And that's the message. That anything that you're encountering right now in your life that is unpleasant, that you don't want, that you dread, it is for your growth. So let's look at this idea, be not conformed. The word conform means to be fashioned after, according to, or adapting a pattern. It often is in the context of taking on the world mind, the world values. Everybody else is doing it, so I'm going to do it. Take on the world attitudes and the world goals and vision. Sometimes it's even on a very personal level of taking on the role based on somebody else's expectations, or that constraint as a result of past failures. Many times we can be in an environment of people who don't uplift us, or people who don't honor us, or people who don't see really good and high things happening for us. And when we have people in our space that don't believe in us, don't believe in our vision, they literally can suck the energy out of what you're trying to do. So this idea, be not conformed, means don't stay stuck. Don't stay in that world consciousness. Don't stay in that expectation vibration of somebody else. Don't stay locked into past failures, past disappointments, past hurts. And the world mind means any system, any values that are contrary to your goals, contrary to your vision, contrary to your purpose. And so this gives us a really nice place to be, because it says that whatever we are facing, we can handle it. Those of us in the Great Discovery, when we look at the Six Sigma evolution of the Great Discovery International Course, we talk about limiting beliefs and restraining forces. And these are some of those very things that can keep us from achieving our greatness. And so as we go into this new year, it's important to know what those forces are, to identify them, and to know how to handle them. Because as long as we have those restraining forces, it's like an airplane with too much baggage. I remember being in an airport once, and being on a plane, and I think it was Dallas, Texas, and the plane went out onto the runway, and then it turned around and came back to the gate. And the pilot apologized. He said that the plane had too much weight. The weight had to be restricted, what do you call it, redistributed. And so this idea of be not conformed to this world means you cannot fly to the heights that you are capable of flying if you're carrying a lot of baggage. If you have a lot of problems, and let's the word problem is not good either. The word problem implies that it may not be solved. And so as we move into this new year, let us look at every situation that we see as an obstacle, that we see as an impediment to our growth and to our success. Let's look at it as a challenge, not a problem. And it's a challenge now, saying that you have the ability to rise to the occasion and overcome whatever it is that's blocking you. This idea of transform now, it's not just change, but it's like a deep change from their very core. Transform means changing your thoughts, changing your emotions, changing your habits, changing your relationships from within. Not because somebody told you this is what you have to do, but because you look at a particular challenge and say, this is the person that I must be to achieve this. Many times, I like to look at life and business as parallel experiences. I've been a network marketer, a salesperson all of my life. I didn't know it for a while, but once I really got into the idea of being an entrepreneur, one of the things that you realize as an entrepreneur is that your income, your success is directly related to your efforts. You see, in a job, and many people, everybody's not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Many people should have a job because in a job, all you have to really do is figure out what you have to do to not get fired, and you're good. So all you have to really do is do just enough not to get fired, and by golly, they're only going to pay you enough to keep you from quitting. And so you develop this sense, and many entrepreneurs come from that paradigm where they say, "Hey, I'm not being paid what I'm worth. I'm not getting the value to me of the value that I'm giving out to the world, giving out to this employer." And so those of us up at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, I think many of us have an entrepreneurial mindset that we don't want to be held down, that we don't want to be conforming to stuff that we don't want, and that we have the power to transform ourselves. Operative word, transform ourselves. And see, that's that entrepreneur mindset where you say, my income, what I achieve, what I receive now depends on my efforts. And so if I do little, I get little. And so, what are the 6 steps to really look at how to be unstuck? How to look at the challenges that you will face and to use those challenges to grow, to become stronger, to become more convicted, to develop a higher skills level so that you can accomplish anything you want to do. And that's a powerful place, folks. As you go into this year, as you develop this power to be you transformed, to be not conformed, to don't stay stuck in wherever you are right now, whatever the block is, whatever that restraining force that's keeping you from flying, to handle it. So that your only limitation is your own imagination. So what are the 6 steps? Step 1, acknowledge the challenge. You notice I didn't say acknowledge the problem. There's no such thing as a problem. Acknowledge the challenge. Acknowledge what's stopping you, what's blocking you, what's holding you captive. When we are in what I'll call challenging situations, we can do one of 5 things. We can fight it. In other words, that can be a state of denial. That whatever the situation is that's holding you back, that's keeping you from flying, that's keeping you from achieving the things that you say you want to be, do, and have, is a state of denial. To pretend that they don't exist. That generally means you have to blame somebody else for your situation. The second F is to forget it, to just ignore it and keep on going. It's like if you don't pay your light bill, you can ignore it and it won't impact you for a while. But after about 45 to 60 days, one day you're going to come home and hit the switch and nothing's going to happen. Many times when people have that challenge, they flee, they run away from it. There are people that have serial jobs, serial entrepreneurs. You've seen them. They go from one business to another business to another business because they never figure out what it takes to be successful in any particular business. There are people who have serial relationships. They go from relationship to marriage, still finding they never achieve the happiness that they're seeking. But the true growth, the point of this whole talk today of be not conformed, is when you face it and you recognize that every challenge is for a purpose to make you grow through it. That all of us is like a caterpillar who has the potential of becoming a butterfly. But that caterpillar must go through a profound transformation. If you did not know that the caterpillar came from the butterfly, and if you saw the two for the first time, you would have no connection, no understanding of how this happened, how the caterpillar, driven by hunger, becomes a butterfly, free to fly to the sun. But it's when you face it that you have this growth thing that happens. I like to think of David and Goliath. We talk about that a lot. But think about this. If there was no Goliath, we would never have heard of David. So if there's no challenge in your life, you will probably never achieve the greatness that your purpose dictates. And so the challenges make us grow. So give yourself permission. And that's a nice way of saying choose. When you're faced with a challenge, feel the emotions. Don't run away from it. You'll have emotions of fear, emotions of sadness, emotions of frustration. In sales when you didn't make your numbers. When the check is directly related to what you do, and they look at the check and they say, man, this is not, my take home pay won't even get me home. But look at it so that you understand all the variables of the challenge. Don't beat yourself up. But look at them to say, hey, let me just see the full extent of this situation, of this challenge. That emotional experience is really a part of the healing process. Anytime you have a from to situation, you have to understand the from and then know where the to is. Assess the situation. Look at it in terms of what it is and what it isn't. Be realistic about it. Many times when we're stuck in just a level of mediocrity. Many times when people get into a business, a job, there's some people that want to go to the top. They want to be the CEO. They want to be the top earner. They always want to be the best. And that's okay. But the idea of when you face this challenge now to assess your situation, to look at it from that sort of from I like to look at it kind of from a serenity prayer mindset. The serenity prayer says, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so this idea now of assessing your situation is, what do you have to do based on where you are to transform your life? Get all the facts. Look at it very analytically, as you would a business problem or a mathematics problem. Get help. Many of us don't understand the power of having a coach. When you look at some of the greatest athletes, some of the high achievers, you'll find that they have a coach, somebody they can go to help them get a deeper understanding, an objective approach to whatever their challenge is. Give yourself space. Whenever you face a challenge, I have found that whenever I made decisions that were not the best ones based on the circumstances, it was because I had not taken the time to step back, take a deep breath for a moment, and then make a decision. Step 2, reframe the challenge. Whatever it is, reframe it in a way that you change your perspective from what it is not to what it can be. So when you look at the challenge, when you're standing there at David facing Goliath, you look at it and say, you know what? If he beats me, I'm dead and I'm done. But if I beat him, I'm alive and I'm famous. I'll go on to become the king. And that's really how that works inside of us, that when we're confronted by these challenges, if we rise to the occasion and meet them, we can become the kings and queens of our own destiny. Look at the lessons that you can learn. Don't stay stuck, knowing always that you have the power now to reframe the situation from an opportunity to hold you back to an opportunity to grow through. Every challenge is like a great wall. And you come to that wall and it's blocking your way. But if you figure out a way to climb to the top of that wall, guess what? You see further. You see more. Step 3, embrace the transformation. Don't stay stuck. Overcome the fear of change. If you continue doing what you've always done, you're going to continue getting what you've always gotten. And if you're not happy with your situation right now, then don't stay stuck. Change. Overcome that fear of failure. If you don't fail, you'll never do anything important. Look at failure as a dress rehearsal for success. Overcome that fear of criticism. Knowing that if people are not criticizing you, you're probably not doing anything, because people look at you from their level of consciousness. And if you're trying to fly, if you're an eagle surrounded by turkeys, the turkeys are going to tell you that you can't fly. But if you have that thing inside you that says, man, I think I can fly, and I'm willing to go for it, then you can avoid mediocrity. The interesting thing about mediocrity is that once you accept yourself, there's some people that can be in the prison of conformity and mediocrity. And instead of trying to break out, they start decorating the place. They start acting like this is where they belong. If you're not happy with where you are right now, then that is not where you belong. Step 4, develop a plan of action. We, in the 12 Universal Laws of Success, Chapter 7, the Law of Action, that plan of action, we've all read about it, but that is one of those processes that works. It's just like breathing. You breathe, you live. You have a plan of action. You know the saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So develop a plan of action where you define your goals clearly, what you want to be, do, and have. where you lay out the path to get there. Write down the tasks that must be done, when they must be done, all of those specifics of the planning process. Set some milestones so you can pat yourself on the back. Many times we spend more time beating ourselves up for lack of performance when we can just pat ourselves on the back for what we did do. One of the interesting things about network marketing and entrepreneurial endeavors is that if you do nothing, you get nothing. And many times we have to make that transformative thought, that transformative experience where we say, if I'm going to get more, I got to do more. I got to do what it takes to get the results I want. So if that means I got to make 5 calls a day, then I cannot fail. Because trust me, if I don't make those 5 calls a day, at the end of the week, I will not achieve my goals. Many times it's not apparent for a while because there's often a lag time between performance and results. But if you are committed to a plan of action and you set those milestones, as they say, inch by inch, it's a cinch. You set those milestones to guide you from where you are to where you want to be. Step 5, execute your plan. Execute your plan using all the tools you have available. Every challenge should always be taken seriously. It's like Goliath. Every Goliath, you got to win. Every Goliath, it's either you win or they win. So what are some of the steps to execute your plan? You got to keep yourself healthy, number 1. Practice good health, your well-being. There's a proverb that says, he who has health has hope. He who has hope has everything. So if you don't keep yourself healthy and take care of your physical body, that can undermine everything. Use mindfulness and meditation. You see, through meditation and mindfulness, you are able to connect to your source. And from that source, you're able to access great powers that can transform you. Pump yourself up. Self-taught. Remember that poem about the train, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. Well, you have to use self-talk, power affirmations to tell yourself you can do it. I can fly. I can fly. You can go even to the absolute. I fly. I go. I rise. I achieve. Build or connect with a success group, a support group. And that's why I really take my hat off and thank each and every one of you, the Success Mastermind team, those that come in on the Zoom on Saturday mornings, because it is in this coming together that we create a mastermind of a principle, and that we can literally lean on each other and let us know that we're not alone, that other people have had the same challenges, and that together they can get through them. And finally, step 6, keep going and growing. This idea of be not conformed is a transformational experience. And so you have to be committed to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to get what you want, to become the person you want to be, to do the things you want to do, to go where you want to go, to have the things you want to enjoy. And in this process of going and growing, to always monitor your progress. Every Friday we do a Friday checkup, to always check up from your neck up. In other words, monitor your thoughts. Are your thoughts congruent with where you want to go? From the heart down, do you feel that you deserve the things that you're seeking? Learn how to analyze. As you execute your plan and you go through the different results, as David, when David looked at Goliath, David didn't just run out there. He analyzed. He adapted. He went through the thing at one point when the king said, hey, use my armor, use my sword. He adapted. He said, that's not my strength. Identify your strengths. Once you do that and you learn to adapt and analyze, then you can get one of the most powerful tools on the planet. You can improvise. Because when you can improvise now, you always figure out a way to be victorious. As a boxer, you know how to bob, you know how to weave, and you know when to bob and when to weave. Keep score. And when I say keep score, really keep the numbers, whatever the metrics are to measure your success, keep score and get yourself an accountability partner. When we talked about having that support network, it's important that when you have somebody who you can share and who can you can be accountable to, it helps bring out the best in you. And then finally, stay in that learning mode. See, the moment you think you know it all, you begin to rot. When you're ripe, you rot. But as long as you're green and growing, nothing is impossible. So let us summarize. Where we are right now, we are able to overcome anything necessary. We are able to face any challenge. Be not conformed to this world. Nothing can keep us captive. Whether it's the world mind, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a drug habit, whether it's bad habits, whether it's negative emotions, nothing can keep us captive unless we choose to let it. But we can also choose to face it and grow through it by acknowledging the challenge, by reframing the challenge and look at it as an opportunity for growth, by embracing transformation, knowing that you have within you the power to be, do, and have anything you want, and that you can transform yourself based on your thinking, your emotions, your habits, and your relationships. Develop a plan of action, a life plan. Businesses have to make a profit. They have a business plan. You want to live a happy life. You must have a life plan. Execute your plan, being willing to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes until you get it. And finally, keep going and growing. It's an evolutionary process. If you follow it and look at each example, each encounter as an opportunity to get better, to strengthen your mindset, to strengthen your skill set, to expand your knowledge base, to see further. If you can do these things, then nothing is impossible. You can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have anything you desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come. Just take a deep breath for a moment and let it out slowly. Thank you for being with us on Instagram. We appreciate your presence. Thank you for being with us on YouTube. We appreciate your presence. Thank you for being with us on Zoom, our Success Network Mastermind Group. I invite you again to share this broadcast with at least 3 other people. Make some comments about it and come on back. Next week, bring somebody because we're here every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. Be sure to visit our website, herbertharris.com, and get a copy of the 12 Universal Laws of Success. Our success bundle on the website, a toolbox to help you transform your life over this next year. But most of all, know that you are an eagle and you have the power to be anything you want to be, do anything you want to do, and you have the power to have anything you desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is.